Welcome back to another episode of Sound 101. I'm Andrew Deity Microphones, and today's episode is on location. We're going to be setting up a panel discussion for a live event that's going on that's going to be about for 500 people. We're going to do the whole thing using gear from my sound kit. Let's get started. So today's whole video is just about that. It is going to be how to do a panel discussion and record it simple and flawlessly. I recently had to go do this at the Aperture Flex event. I grabbed a cameraman and we went out and actually shot a bunch of stuff of me setting it all up. And we realized something in the middle of that. We can break this down step by step for you guys at home. And that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to give you 5 easy steps to follow so that you do not have any kind of issues on your next event. So step number 1, as soon as you walk into the venue, try to identify where you can set up for the event, as well as where you can set up the speaker for the event. The simple answer is not in the back of the room. If I put this on a stage, right, and I'm talking into it, and this is behind me, this is now pointing at the speaker. It's gonna cause feedback, you know? Not good. So where's it gotta be? At the corners of your stage, facing out toward the audience, or slightly ahead of the stage, a couple of feet, or I like to do the sides of the room and then about 3 feet ahead of the stage. That's where I love to place it, because the first row, they're going to hear the person. They don't need the PA system. The PA system is for the people who aren't in the first 3 rows. So that's where you're going to put your speakers. Now, let's talk about where you're going to set up. The simple answer, nowhere it can be seen. You're going to find a place that's out of the way and your cables can actually reach and run to. You don't try to set up in a place that it's going to have you having to run a cable in a ceiling or someplace awkward, someplace that you're going to be able to easily lay down cable. It's not a tripping hazard for others. Don't forget, tape down your cables. Something else you need to worry about is those cable runs and if you're going to be close to power. Sometimes these speakers have to have their own power source, so you want to set them up in a way that you can also get power routed to these guys. The system I use, they actually are passive speakers, and this guy right here drives the whole system with one power cable. So I can set up anywhere. Now let's set this up. Now you may be saying to yourself, why are we setting up an F8 when this thing allows us to plug microphones right into it? This is where I come up with this brilliant concept idea of slaving these 2 units together. And that is, we're going to use the Automixer that does all the faders for us. And yes, I am cheating. Of course I am. Why? Because I don't really want to do it. No matter how good I get at trying to predict who's got a question from the audience and who's got to answer that question, this will always be much faster as soon as someone grabs the microphone and starts talking. The other benefit of this F8 over something like a traditional mixer, an analog setup, often PA systems, especially all-in-one, kind of PA systems, don't have things like limiters. The limiters will save me every single time. Again, much faster than I can rotate a knob. That Flex event that we actually did all the mixing for was like 2.5 hours. Do you want to sit there 2.5 hours sitting there mixing back and forth? A lot of people just leave them both up. Why would you not want to do that? Well, if one person is talking, the other person's microphone can sometimes, if they're not talking, they're moving it back and forth. You have 2 microphones now point to the same source. You're going to end up with phasing issues. You could potentially also just end up with room ambience. The fact that both microphones are full. Every room's gonna have like some people talking in the background, especially in a live audience situation. The last thing you want is doubling that volume of that noise with 2 open microphones. Step number 4, set up your shotgun microphones for the room. Now you might say to yourself, why are we setting up shotgun microphones? Well, if I'm watching this at home on video, I don't know how many people are in the room. So if someone says a joke in the panel discussion, if this is the only microphone that's capturing it, it doesn't pick up any laughter at all in the room. It just goes dead. So if it's a funny joke, it just falls flat on camera. Now let's bring that immersiveness home. So those shotgun microphones are actually audience mics. We're gonna point those 2 shotguns back into the audience, and we're gonna run them parallel to not get the feedback noise of speakers. We're gonna get some of this, it's unavoidable because the whole room is going to sound like a room that has a PA in it. But if we can try to get just the isolation of people clapping, of people cheering, it's really gonna bring that immersive experience home that there was a big giant audience in the room with that panel discussion. The second reason for the F8 over instead of running everything through this is the routing matrix in here, because we're not going to send those shotguns to the output. We're going to record them, but not send them to the PA, because again, we don't want the feedback. So we don't route them out of here. We just record them internal. Only the handheld microphones actually get routed into the unit. Now let's talk about step number 5. It's checking everything. You make sure your cable runs are right. Microphone's plugged in, sounds right, it's nice and loud. You're hitting your meters where they need to be. Same thing with your shotguns. Make sure they're getting a nice, good, strong signal, and you're not picking too much up from the PA. So have someone talk here at the same time you're PFL listening to your shotgun microphones. Now, while you're having someone on stage talk, you walk around the room to make sure the speakers from the left and the right feel like they're the same volume. You don't want one speaker louder than the other because the whole perception in the room will shift a little bit. Really make sure everything that you need to do for that day is getting done and checked long before you even get talent on stage doing their mic checks. You can do it yourself. You can predict how loud someone's going to be when they hold the microphone this far away and talk. That's not hard. You can do it. So you just do a couple of checks yourself. Now they come on. They're ready for sound check. You don't want to waste their time. Their time is precious. So they check the microphones. In some panel discussions, you may only get them 2 minutes before they even go on the panel. So you're talking very quick sound checks. So this check that you're doing is way more important than the real sound check. Step number 6 is cleanup. How did everything fit in my car? How did I get it all in this one bag? How many cables did I arrive with? At live events, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of moving parts, and it's very easy at the end of the night to be exhausted and forget stuff. Being just as organized in your cleanup at the end of the day is just as critical because it makes the next setup that much easier. I'm trying to tell you right now, in the calm moment of this YouTube video, think about your loadout. And that's it. That's how you record a panel discussion. Try to use gear you may already own in your video kit, but repurpose it for the live event space. Think about audio routing, signals, and cables throughout the rest of your day. And of course, think about safety. If you like this kind of content, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications. If there's a video topic that you want to see us do, drop it in the comment section below. We read those on every single video. And that's it. I'm Andrew for Deity Microphones. Thank you for watching.